Howdy, it's Jim Arado, and this is a little video I made back in September of 2018 at the Hidden River Cave in Horse Cave, Kentucky, and just kind of filming around for the heck of it. But I ended up filming our cave tour. There's actually some people ziplining right above the cave, and this is really cool. If you're ever in town, just stop by and look at that. This is just a really neat scene. And yeah, I just taped this. There's a great tour guide, and his daughter helps out. So I'm actually gonna try not to say too much and let him do the talking because he's great. Yeah, this tour guide was really great, and he had his daughter with him this particular day, and she was adorable and just doing a great job helping him out. And I was actually through here a month or two after I taped this, and I took him a DVD copy of my video. I don't know if he ever got it or not, but he was a really nice guy. Well, I left it for him at the front. And if you're into caves, you know, this isn't too far from Mammoth Cave. It's a great area. I know when I was in high school, we used to go to the Horse Cave Theater. We would take field trips up here. That place doesn't exist anymore. I wish it did, but this is still a great little town, and I might just shut up for a bit.
These around here. You see these lovely sinkholes, and they think, you know what? That's out my back pasture or my backyard. I don't want to drive all the way to the dump. I'm just going to use that. And they do. I've got one on the way home. I live in Glasgow. I was driving along, and I looked and saw 4 legs sticking out of it. Somebody put the cattle into it. So we find those kind of things. We also find vehicles, furniture, pretty much anything you've used in your house, we have found in a sinkhole like that. Now, with all of that, what happens is paint, oil, parts of animals, all that loveliness seep down, and they end up in these underground rivers like the one you're going to see. And especially this one. This one has a drain basin of about 100 square miles. So anything that affects the water 100 miles away in some form will find its way into this water source here. Now that on its own is not enough to have to close a cave. There's 2 other sources of pollution in this one. There was a creamery that was opened, and they decided that they would send all their waste to sinkholes and to a treatment plant. But the waste that did go to the sinkhole or to the treatment plant ended up coming through this cave. And if anybody's ever left milk out on the counter, it's not too lovely later on. That's what happened to this cave. Plus a treatment plant that was designed for a different kind of environment, not a car system, which is this. When it fed into the cave, just added a little bit more pollution. So eventually you had these 3 big sources feeding this cave. And like I said, it had to be closed. During the summertime, people kind of avoided this town, this area because of this. But as you can tell, because you're here today, it did get better. What happened is people started to notice it was no longer out of sight with all this odor coming out of it. So in the 70s, this cave started to need some help. At that time, a man by the name of Bill Austin had purchased the cave. His family owned several caves in the area, and he decided, I want to change something. I want to fix this. So he started looking what he can do. He started working with the local officials. The EPA got involved. And they started passing laws in the 70s, basically telling people, you can't dump waste in the sinkholes. There's a pretty hefty fine for it now, but it doesn't stop you from doing it. So that started helping. And then this cave got some more help. In the 1980s is when the organization we work for was asked to move here. What we work for is the American Cave Conservation Association, or ACCA for short. And our whole goal is to protect and educate about caves throughout America. And we wanted to own a show cave to be able to show people what a cave environment's all about. So we moved down here, looked at this, decided to come here, built a museum, all dedicated to cave history. The bottom portion is about cave wildlife, and it's more history of how caves are used. And then with all of that, people started taking notice. And they built a new treatment plant during that time too, with some help from the local community. So when stuff was being treated, it was designed especially for a system like this. So you stop having that pollution pumped in. And another big thing with nature is if you stop putting pollution in, it will fix itself. So with this cave, we have a beautiful river that does flood. So eventually those contaminants were pushed out. And in 1993 was a very exciting year because that's when they went down to check the water quality, went down there and saw that the eyeless fish and eyeless crayfish were coming back out, coming back into this cave. And then we were able to reopen for tourists at that time too. So now, if everybody's ready, we'll go ahead and take a walk. We're going to take an elevator ride. I can get everybody.
I'll hold it.
Something.
I think on the way up there, I think I saw one on those St. Hoes.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. There's quite a few around here.
I think it was on there for cornfield.
Oh, yep. Yeah, there's several fields. You'll see them just out in the middle or out by the side of the road.
Yeah.
Like I was telling you, we are in a sinkhole now. As you look around, you can see that they can actually be kind of nice. This one, especially at the big cave opening, is a little cooler than being up on the street level. This sinkhole and this cave at one time made Horse Cave the place to come to. Now, if we were to come here in the 1880s, you would have seen a thriving downtown. People from everywhere came here. Later on, the town actually had a movie theater. It had restaurants, apartments, little shops, and a lot of it had to do with this cave and this sinkhole. Because during that time, there was a man who used to live in that White House, Red Roof, and his name was Dr. Thomas. And he wanted this cave for cave tours, but he also had another idea. He wanted to get water from that cave because of the river in it. Now originally, how he did that was you would go to his old ticket office and you would pay him 10 cents for your water. But guess how you got it? You got it. He would hand you a bucket. You come down, there's about 70 stairs here, and there's a few more we take into the cave than the original ones. I think it's like 50 more. And you go all the way to the bottom, get your bucket of water, and carry it back out. Now, later on, Dr. Thomas had a better idea. He actually put in a whole pumping system. So he pumped that water out of the cave, where our zip line rappel platform sits. That actually used to be an old water tower right there. So he was able to give all that water to the city. But then he went even farther than that. Now, as you were driving the Horse Cave, you probably noticed it's not the biggest town in the world. It was actually the second town in Kentucky to get electric power. Louisville was the first. So you can come to this small town, you can have running water, electricity, you can come enjoy a nice cool air, but there's one more thing. This right here used to be all leveled out. This at one time was a tennis court. You come here, play tennis next to the cave. Just a little more of the history. Now we're going to walk to the entrance. We're going to go ahead and start going in. We're going to go down about 150 feet underground. And we'll stop on what's known as the Thomas platform. So as you're ready, we'll head that way. You have any plans for the other caves today?
Think about the Crystallonics that just
Yes.
kind of reopened.
Yes, I really do recommend that one. We got to see it a couple months ago because it was closed for about 14 years. So I remember I think I was like 12 when we went into it, and it was scary in there because all the handrails was falling down, half the lights didn't work. It just looked like kind of dingy and dusty. And the new owner bought it, and we went and saw it, and he just went in there and just revamped it. He actually tore up their old parking lot, and it's kind of neat because now you go into it, and there's formations that are turning white again, where water's coming back onto
that's
them.
cool.
Yeah, it's really, you have to see it to really do it justice. That is a good one.
You know, every so often I'll Google around and see what's closed and what's open. And, you know, I was hoping to catch Cub Run Cave.
Yeah, that's a
But-
sad. That one's so sad.
I guess that was only open for a few months, wasn't it?
It
Or
was.
reopened.
Did you ever get to do it before?
No.
Oh, because there's a lady that works. Her name's Linda, and she used to work at Cub Run, but it's been closed for a while because like the owners had a dispute, and it's up for sale now, but the price is
Crazy.
yeah. Because we thought about buying it, and we looked into it, and it's like, no,
Yeah.
we can't afford that.
Well, maybe somebody will.
Yeah, hopefully. I think even the national park said something that they might be interested in getting it, but
Oh, that'd be great.
I'm not sure how all that works.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's another one. It is just, it's just beautiful. And then if you want another cave, it's got a lot in it, like formation-wise. There's also Diamond Caverns, which is
We've done that one before. I like that one quite a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, and as I'm watching this for the first time since I taped it back in September of 2018, and it's we're now into November of 2020, I just realized, I just remembered how, I was reminded how great this tour guide was, and I enjoy talking to people like him about the show caves, you know, in the western Kentucky area, central kind of western, mostly western, I would say, by my standards. And I love getting those little bits of information. We're talking about Cub Run Cave and Crystallonics. And man, there's just so many caves in this area, and I love taking a day trip down and just visiting some of them for the heck of it. And I love the fact that you've got guides like him who are passionate and they care about the caves, and they obviously love talking to them. I'm sure they're just doing this more for the joy of doing it than anything else. And yeah, I love when I hear about a new cave opening, or an old cave that hasn't been open for a while reopening. And it was gold getting that information from our tour guide that particular day. I love those kind of conversations. Wanted to apologize for the jerky camera work. I was taping this just I had my camera on, and I thought, this might be something fun for me to watch somewhere down the road. And I've been accused of being jerky in general and of being a jerky cameraman, and I definitely was this day. We were walking down the stairs and I just kept the camera on. So yeah, I hope you don't get too motion sick as you go down into the cave with me, but I wanted to keep it on just to remember, the stairs going down and how much walking you have to do to kind of get to where you're going. Also, I love his intro about the cave and about the water and just the origins of the cave. And again, this is a great area. I mentioned earlier, back in high school, I remember my high school drama crew coming down to the Horse Cave Theater and seeing just super top-notch actors doing a performance in an old barn setting. And that was a real treasure for that area too, and it's not there anymore. But I wanted to mention that one more time. Stairway.
About 150 feet underground. And as you look back, you got a beautiful entrance right there. Really neat in winter time because water drips and you get beautiful icicles there. When the fall, it's beautiful foliage right here. But also, as you look at this entrance, this is the rumor of how this town got its name. We're not sure why Horse Cave is called Horse Cave. So you got three choices. The first one is, you can see something rather large. Another rumor is that long ago, before there was a town, different ones like locals or army officials would get down in here with their horses somehow and hide them in this cave. Now, I know a lady that's worked horse here. She rode horses her whole life. And she said she would never try to do that. Because it wasn't exactly going to come down here. Then the last one is that same time, no town, a long time ago, that somebody's horse got spooked and fell into the cave. There you go. 3 choices, whichever one you like. That's how it got its name. Now, everybody liked these stairs pretty well. Nice handrails and everything. Pretty safe. Well, these stairs, of course, we put in here. If you were to come here in the cave floor originally, you would use these stairs. These ones are pretty much the same as they were then, minus the wooden rails they had that carried the electrical lines out. If you look at this entrance, you think about all these stairs, you think about what the cave was used for, can you imagine bringing this piece of equipment in here? Now this is a replacement pump that was put in later. It was ready to meet the demands of the city for the water. If you get a chance to go to the museum, I really recommend it. Because you're going to look and see old photos when this was first put in. This shelf right here is all cleared off. And there's a man standing right here. His name is Dr. Cole. He's actually Dr. Thomas's son-in-law. He's kind of showing all this equipment when it was first put in. Those ladders ran up to it. And down here is part of his old hydroelectric system. There used to be a stand in front of it, and belts and gears to run all of this equipment. It'd be neat to think about going back then and seeing all that and hearing the different sounds it would have made to have all this running in the cave. Now this cave tour today, we're just going to see the face of this cave. Now in the cave right now, we have about 13 miles of it. But it keeps going. We believe it could be up to 60 miles or so. Not quite as big as that, but still not bad for some locations. If you're ever interested in seeing the side of the cave that most people don't, we do offer wild cave tours here. So you go with the helmet and the lights, and you don't go on the board like us we're going through. You follow this river bank. Back. And then you're going to go up, over, and get this river side and over. See different things like that. That's a front door. You can see a lot of the ice fish. The ice scrapers and things you don't from the river. So now we are going to go a little deeper in the cave. These next set of handrails, the next set of handrails, there's a little road cross coming up, got some lights on it, and I like to go there. So we'll follow the river, and we'll go up 2 more stairs to a very nice stone room. And as you're walking on these steps here, on these walkway, you'll get to see the old ramp that Dr. Thomas had made in, plus some of the open stones on the wall too, carrying all the power in this cave. Ready? Take it. Right now, guys, we're standing in what's known as first stone. This is a 3.5-acre room. So as we look around at this lovely domed room, we think about building and living in a cave environment like this. This is a good example of why it's always important to pay attention and treat the land with respect. Anybody tell me what's above this room right here? Yes, sir. Land. So what would be the street? Very good. You actually drove on this stone room on your way here. Right here's Main Street of Horse Cave. Right here-ish is a restaurant. And over here, there's a bookstore. So there's many things happening above this room right here. Now, to put your mind at ease, rooms like this don't just collapse for no reason. This one's got a nice solid cap. As you see, no water seeping through. There's no big cracks in it. So this should be good for about a millennia. So we've got plenty of time. But sometimes things in nature do happen to surprise you. Has anybody been to the Corvette Museum?
Yeah.
Yes, many people know about that one. I don't know if you went to it since they fixed it. It's kind of neat. You can see a glass tube of how deep it was when the floor opened up. And that's what does happen, or sometimes that happens with houses or things. Not too often. Now before I tell you this next part, I'm just going to say this too, to put everybody's mind at ease, because of recent events. This cave does flood, but the way it is right now, we'd have to get a downpour for about 8 hours for it just to come up a little bit. So we're fine for today. That being said, at times, the river has reached this level right here. So all of this and that down there is underwater. During the springtime, it was about ankle deep, because we had a lot of rain. The river's actually beat that too. It's made it up to this point right here before. That was in 2018, so earlier this year. But we can top that 2 more times. In '97, we were building this platform here because before the cave tour, when you came down all those lovely steps, looked at everything and went back out. We're expanding here. During that time, we had a lot of rain in Kentucky. About a month of just solid downpours. The river reached to right here. Now as you see, we have no marker up there. But there's one way we knew. A piece of this boardwalk used to be wedged up there. Now, as you notice too, there's no longer a board up there, because in 2009 we got a lot of rain, the cave flooded like it does, and that board got knocked loose, and it's farther in this cave somewhere. I'm not quite sure where it ended up. Now when you think about caves, you think about all that's in them, a lot of times you think about formations. And there's diamond caverns, beautiful cave. Formations litter it everywhere. Also, there is Crystallonics Cave, another cave that's just amazing with formations. In this cave, well, truthfully, in this section, there's not any right here. The reason is the wet makeup for growing formations is not right for this cave. There's not enough water seeping in. But there is one spot where we do have formations. That's our piece of flowstone right there. It's got a beautiful rim pool above it. It's just feeding it. You see the water coming into it right now. In a few million years, that'll be quite impressive down there. You just have to wait a little bit of time because formations are very slow growers. Now this next part's very exciting to us. As you guys probably know, we're doing construction in the cave. We're getting to open up a section of cave that has been closed for about 50 years. Originally, if you had came here during the 1920s, that era, you would have been able to go way back in this cave to a room known as Sunset Dome. That's where we're working to get into right now. But they had to stop doing that back then because of a time in Kentucky known as the Cave Wars. That's where people started getting upset at each other. Because you, sir, have a beautiful cave. You have the entrance on your property. You're taking people through this cave. You're showing them these amazing things. But then this lady gets mad at me. Exactly. Because part of that cave is going under her property. You know what she does? Well, she waits for you to close up one night. She sneaks into your cave and cuts the formations out of it and glues them in a cave that she might own or her family owns. And she invites people to look at these new formations that showed up. Look at all this. Or she takes it a step farther. If that wasn't bad enough, she sneaks in your cave one time, goes to where she believes her property line is underground, and builds a wall. So then when you're doing your cave tour, you come and run into this wall that wasn't there before, because she wants part of that money. So this started happening all throughout Kentucky. Now back here, you see it, nobody built a wall to keep Dr. Thomas out. But a landowner said, no, you can't go back there because I own a section of property above that. Dr. Thomas said, well, you know what? I own everything behind it. I'm not going to listen to you. So they started feuding and going to court. They didn't care for each other at the beginning. They really didn't at the end. They actually built buildings. They're called spite buildings. Dr. Thomas built ones to block his business. So he built ones to try to block the cave. They started going back and forth. And then their case, plus all these other cases, ended up in the Kentucky Supreme Court. And they made a ruling that still applies today. You buy land in Kentucky, you own everything underneath the land you buy too, all the way to the court. Now very recently, we've gotten the property rights to the land underneath. I don't know all the legals of it, but I know it's ours now. This is an exciting part. After it gets inspected, very, very soon, we're going to open a bridge that you're going to see. It's a 100-foot swinging bridge. It's about 40 feet up, and we're going to get back to Sunset Dome. Now, here's the reason Sunset Dome is so exciting. There's none of this in it. There's no breakdown. It's an open floor room. Big enough that you can play baseball in it. It's flat enough for a cave. And it's not a room that's 3.5 acres. It's 5.5 acres in size. It is massive. It's really cool too. You stand in the center of it, you can look up, and it has a pattern. You can see where the water set back there and swirl. It has this beautiful pattern in the ceiling. It's so big that when you stand at the entrance, you can't see the other side of it with just regular lights. It takes many lights to light it all up. So it's a very exciting project that we are very nearly complete with. So we're going to walk this way. I'm not sure how far down we're going to get because there is an outlook. So I don't know if they still got that blocked off. Because I was off the other day. If you get to see the bridge, you know where we're going to get to very soon. You guys ready? Stop right there for me. I'm going to do something. Let's turn that here. That's better. You can come down a little farther, like right here. This is a swinging bridge that we've been working on. This has been months of work put into. This was actually supposed to be done before summer was over, but expectation versus reality when it comes to building in a cave, because this was a first of its kind build for the guys that did it. You can see we have our lovely I-beams that go into the wall about 7 feet. These weigh 500 pounds. And guess what? They came in the same way you did. That's why there's that zip line. We actually hooked it up, lowered them in with a ratchet, and at the bottom of the bridge, carried them back in here. There's one here, and there's one on the other side over there too. But in just a little while, if you're in the area again, do come back, because we will get to walk across this bridge. This is a really awesome project we've been waiting on for a very, very long time. And I do thank everybody for coming to see our cave today, and for giving all of the mess and not being able to get all the way down here because of all that we're doing right now. I do hope that you do come back and go to the very big room with us. But whoever's ready in the back, you can lead out, so I'm going to fall out behind you all. When you get to the first set of stairs, all those ones leading out, you do not have to run up them. Take your time with them. There's no race. If you need to stop and take a break, feel free to. There's no hurry.
Sorry.